Now, are the Tories guilty of overspending in 3 recent by-elections? An investigation by Channel 4 News seems to think so. Let's take a look.
The Conservatives were badly losing members to UKIP and votes. But what Tory High Command feared most was UKIP getting their first MPs in by-elections. Farage and his party had to be stopped. At any cost, it seems.
Channel 4 News has obtained a wealth of information which reveals just how much the Conservatives spent on 3 parliamentary by-elections in 2014 and appeared to show a contempt for the law, a law designed to create a level playing field and prevent any party simply buying election success. These detailed receipts seem to show how in each case the Conservatives simply bust the £100,000 legal spending limit that applies to by-elections.
And Michael Crick, who we just saw there from Channel 4 News, is magically with us now. Can you just summarise again what has happened in your mind?
Well, during the by-election campaigns, I covered all 3. There were strong suspicions that the Conservatives were spending a huge amount of money. I mean, the Liberal Democrats, I think in Newark, accused them of spending £250,000. The legal limit is £100,000. And we've obtained hotel bills from several of the hotels in each of those campaigns, and they're huge amounts. I mean, Rochester, just 2 hotels is £56,000. Now, the Electoral Commission guidance, whereby candidates and agents fill in the forms at the end of the campaign and say that they've fitted within the £100,000 limit, say that you have to include hotels for party workers. And the bills we've obtained, you know, not only show the amounts, they show which party workers were staying there, how much each room cost, and so on.
Would it have changed, though, in your mind, the outcomes of those by-elections?
No. The Conservatives won Newark fairly easily by a majority of 7,000, and of course UKIP won in both Clacton and Rochester. But there are important principles here. And also another consideration is I think that what was notable about all 3 campaigns is how pathetic, frankly, the Labour campaign was. And Labour argued privately, look, we cannot mount a proper campaign here because we will be outspent, whatever we do, by the Conservatives.
So they just didn't bother spending?
So they didn't bother. I think there were political reasons why they didn't bother. Labour wasn't... I mean, at one point there were Labour seats, Newark and Rochester, but and they had problems with Miliband and so on. But
which laws have been broken if it is found and your allegations are backed up?
Well, the Representation of the People Act makes it clear that you have to stick within spending limits, and the good reasons for that, level playing field,
yes,
and so on. The trouble is, in terms of a prosecution, it's too late for the by-elections because you can only prosecute within 12 months. Some lawyers think it might be possible to put together a conspiracy charge whereby you would argue that there was a deliberate attempt to deceive and mislead rather than deceive, I think, returning officers in each of these 3 constituencies.
What's the Conservative Party saying? Because as far as I can tell, they're denying it.
They're saying that we complied with the law, but they're not explaining why these hotel bills did not appear on their expense returns, nor are they explaining why a lot of the hotels were strangely attributed to the home address in Hertfordshire of one of their leading officials, rather than Conservative headquarters. Mysterious, that. Was that a deliberate attempt to mislead or not?
Right. I mean, I think we did try and get somebody from the party to come on and talk about it, but we haven't managed to do that as yet. As you say, they're saying they kept within the spending limits. So does it go to the police, even if it's outside the actual time limit for prosecution? Does it still go to the police or the Electoral Commission, or both?
The trouble with this area, nobody really wants to handle it, this whole subject. The Electoral Commission say, well, we only handle national spending limits, not the local constituency limits that apply in constituency campaigns. They say that's the job of the returning officers. The returning officers take the return in and look after it and make it available to the public, but they say, well, it's not our job to check the returns. They say that's a matter for the police, and the police say, well, we don't really want to get involved. So nobody really polices any of this. The Electoral Commission have asked for greater powers from the government, but they say that the government has not responded.
Should there be greater powers for the Electoral Commission to investigate this? I mean, in your mind, is this a serious allegation, and if found to be flouting the law, I mean, is it a serious charge?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing to say, we're wholly autonomous in Scotland, or as a campaigning organisation from the party down south. We know what the rules are in terms of by-elections. We always declare everything as required under the law. My colleagues down south say that that's exactly what they have done in these cases. I think the rules exist for the reason that Michael says, to make sure that democracy in the UK is preserved. So I think that it is important that that people do uphold the law.
Would you like to see it investigated?
Well, I think if there is something there that needs to be looked at, then...
Well, Michael Crick says he has the evidence. Do you think the party should be scrutinised for these by-elections and their spending limits?
I think all parties should be scrutinised at every election for what it is they declare. That's the reason that you have declarations in the first place. But I would stress again that my colleagues in the party down south do say that they have declared everything as required to them under the law.
So is that the end of your investigation, then?
No, we'll have more tonight on what happened in Thanet South during the general election, for which the 12 months is not yet up.
All right, Michael Crick, thank you.